been reading that I would like to show you guys, even though I haven't exactly made my way through it. You can see I'm only a couple chapters in, but it's a book that I've really found that I enjoy reading, and I don't know if I've mentioned this in videos before, but I like to have a book in my purse at all times, which I call my purse book. And this, basically, this is my new purse book. It's perfect for, just carrying around it. It's a bit big, but luckily my purse has room for it. And it's comprised of not exactly short stories, I guess, because they're not really standalone. I thought at first that it was a book of short stories, but it's really just a selection of, it's one big story told with paperwork and letters and emails and essays and stuff like that about an English teacher who kind of has a psychotic break and ends up in a psychiatric hospital. And it's comedic. It's meant to be funny the way that it's done. But it's called When Mystical Creatures Attack. And the thing that attracted me to it was that, and the fact that it's, a squid looks like attacking a unicorn. And, I saw this cover, and, you're not supposed to judge a book by its cover, but I picked it up and started flipping through it and was just instantly in love. It's exactly the kind of light reading that is good for someone who's, in a position kind of like mine where I'm doing so much reading for schools that I don't really have the time and mental energy to read a lot of the more intense classic literature that I normally like reading. Like, I've mentioned numerous, stuff from A Clockwork Orange to Nabokov to stuff like that. And as much as I love reading stuff like that, I just don't have the energy for it with grad school and all of my textbooks. But this is so perfect and so nice. So, just to give you an idea of the kind of sense of humor, I want to read from the first chapter, and how they introduce the characters. So since the main character is an English teacher, it starts off by, the first chapter is the titular chapter, When Mystical Creatures Attack, and the title is named after this writing prompt that she gives her students, and it shows the writing prompt and it shows the essays that they respond with, and reading out all of the essays would take too long, but reading the titles and sort of summarizing the point that they make is, I think, enough to sort of get the idea of what I'm trying to get at. So here's the prompt. 1. What is your favorite mystical creature? 2. What is the greatest sociopolitical problem of our time? Journaling prompt. Write a one-page story in which your favorite mystical creature resolves the greatest sociopolitical problem of our time. And so, here are what these looks like high school English students, it doesn't really specify an age, but high school English students respond with. First one is how the Minotaur changed the legal drinking age to 16, because of course that's what a teenager would be into. loses it and smashes it